Hi there, and welcome to our video where we discuss all things Workbook A. Workbook A is typically used in Irish primary schools in first class. Those children would be around 6, 7 years old for those of you who are using the program outside of Ireland. Yes, without further ado, let's get into Workbook A. It is worth noting that in relation to the Spellings for Me program, Workbook A and Workbook B work a little bit differently to C, D, E, and F. In third, fourth, fifth, and sixth class, we are quite confident in the use of the individualized spelling approach, where children use their online profiles that create individualized spelling lists exactly to their ability. With first and second class, workbook that typically use Workbook A and Workbook B, that may not be the case. An individualized approach may not be the best answer for your class. And that's why we use a different approach when using Workbook A and Workbook B. And it's a letter string approach, which I'm going to speak about. If you're interested in using the individualized approach with Workbook A, I would get you to look at videos such as running spellings for me efficiently, and you might even look at one of the other workbooks like video for Workbook C, D, E, and F to give you an idea how the individualized works in that context. So Workbook A. Most importantly, if you're using Workbook A, there is a checklist for every workbook, A, B, C, D, E, and F. That checklist is available to you, like the image on the right-hand side. We would have emailed it to you, but it is also available in the printable section of your profile. It's 4 pages back-to-back or 8 pages A4. It will guide you step by step on how to use the program week after week. It is especially important if it is your first year of using the program. It's the only document you as a teacher need to print. In relation to your teaching manual, it's available also in the printable section of your profile, but you may only refer to a few pages of your teaching manual throughout the course of the year. Okay, so it is really important to print and follow your checklist for the workbook that you are using. This is what Workbook A looks like. If you do intend on using the online side of Workbook A, the login cards for your students would be in the report section of your profile. All these instructions would be in your checklist as well, by the way. If you print the login cards for your students, they will be able to place them into that specific space there in the image on the left-hand side. That will contain their username and their password for them to log into their online profile. It is important to note that when teaching spellings for me, you don't have to be standing up at the top of the classroom with the workbook in your hand. All workbooks are available in ebook format, available digitally in the printable section of your profile. So get them up on the interactive whiteboard or whatever large screen you have at the front of the classroom. And with the program, you can flick from page to page exactly like a real book. Okay, so it's important to get it up in the front of the classroom. This is the contents of Workbook A. As I said, it's a little bit different. Workbook A and B are a little bit different in relation to the contents from C, D, E, and F. There are 30 units to cover. We would envisage a unit being covered per week. Pages 4 to 11 of your workbook give you tips on how to use the program, but also pages for the students to refer to throughout the course of the year when using the program. We have a lot of practice units in Workbook A. We have 6 practice units. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 are all practice units. From Unit 7, the students will study a letter string per week. If you look at the table of contents on the left-hand side, you'll see on Unit 7, they're going to study ACK words. In Unit 8, they're going to study AIN words. In Unit 9, they're going to study AKE words. These words will come from a set list that I'm going to show you in the next few minutes. As I said, you can give individualized lists during this, but it would not be the best approach for first-class students. Letter strings will be covered throughout the course of the year. As you can see from Unit 7 up to Unit 30, a specific letter string is covered per week. This image here on the left-hand side, we included in every single Spellings for Me workbook because it pertains to the online side of the program, specifically to students that do the online individualized testing. You may not be doing that, most likely will not be doing that in first class, but just so you are aware of how it works. This image is on page 4. It is nice if the students in the older classes, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th class students, understand why they are taking their tests. Just so you're aware, the yellow tests are where students go in and we find out what words in English language they do not know. We put those words they don't know into grids, and the students print out those grids. They're individualized to every single student. They stick those into their workbook and they study those grids for the next 4 weeks. 12 words per week over a 4-week cycle. And after 4 weeks, we want to test those students on the words they've been studying for the previous 4 weeks. So we unlock their Orange Learning Words test. We test them on those 48 words. Let's say I get 48 out of 48 words correct. Brilliant. I then have to go back to my yellow spelling test to build up a new set of 48 for the next 4 weeks. This is called approach 1, as you can see in the image on the right-hand side. I believe the best approach in second class is approach 2. That's where we use the letter string list or the Dolch list or the snip list. Okay, because we do believe here at Spellings for Me that using individualized lists in first class is not the best approach. There is a page in the student workbook that explains how best to use our top tips for smaller words. If you're interested even in the support setting and going into this further, we have a video like this, similar to this one, that's called Using Spellings for Me in Support. This page is in every single Spellings workbook, or these 2 pages. It's useful to go through it at certain stages, depending on your class level, with your class, just to explain what strategy has been used, because we focus on 4 main spelling strategies, but I'm going to go into those in more detail in a second. If you are doing online testing, there is a place for students to log this testing, when it was completed, the time and date. We also have a place in their Spellings for Me workbook where they can record any errors that they make, let's say, in their free writing or their homework copy, or any copy that you as a teacher correct, you notice a spelling mistake and you want them to record it somewhere. There is a place in their Spellings for Me workbook where they can record those words. What strategy should I use? We teach the children the strategies explicitly in the first 2 weeks of you using Spellings for Me, using the video lessons. If you're looking at this video and you haven't played those video lessons in and you're past the first 2 weeks, I would urge you to go back and play them. Print worksheets from the printable section of your profile and play those videos for your students. This page on the left-hand side helps the students figure out what strategy they should use for the word that they have for homework that night. And here we go. We're into Unit 1. We're into Week 1. There is a video lesson for Activity 1. It's an 8-9 minute video lesson, and it is so important to play these video lessons, pause them, discuss them with your class as many times as you need to, pause those videos and chat about what is going on in the video. Similarly, when we get to Wednesday, so Activity 1 is Monday, Activity 2 is Tuesday, Activity 3 is Wednesday. When we get to Wednesday, there's another video lesson that explains letter drawings to your class. And when we get to Unit 2, the same rules apply. There is a video lesson on Monday and there's a video lesson on Wednesday to explain our other 2 strategies. At this stage, you now have all 4 strategies covered with your class. The more you revise those strategies in first and second class, the better it will be for your students going forward 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. Unit 3 explains a few other areas of the program that they're going to need to get used to. And the same with Unit 4. We introduced topics that we cover every single week from week 7 to week 30. Okay, so in this we can see there's syllable work and there's some counting the syllables. Okay, Unit 5, we're practicing and revising the strategies again before we get into a sample unit. And in Unit 6, we have a sample unit here. Every student gets the same words. There's no real connection between these words. It allows them to use all varied activity or all varied strategies. They pick the strategy that's most suitable for their word. For example, you look at the very first word there, wet. They might hone in on the ET and draw ET in that case. Okay, the alien ET. Okay, so if we look at the word when there, is there a mini word inside the word when? Yes, hen is the mini word inside there. Is there a mini word in the word bite? Yes, the word it. So those are the activities that's the strategy that they may focus on with those words. You discuss the words, you come up. You might do it as a whole class lesson where they all fill in the same things onto these 2 pages, especially in first class. The more you do jointly as a complete class together, where we all fill in even the same thing on these pages, the more benefit and the more understanding the students will get, especially at the start of introducing a new program. As you can see, the activities are very much colour and centred in relation to the first class. They use their learning words with a lot of these activities. Okay. It is nicer if they complete the activity in school with you. There are more benefits. If you go to the 4th activity there, the letter string activity, they have to fill in the word ring, they have to fill in the word finger. They fill in the word, but they know that ing is in that word. Okay, and then you as a class discuss, does anybody else know any other ing words? And you discuss it as a class. Okay. The table of contents highlights what letter string is going to be used per week. If you look at Unit 7, we know that ACK words are now going to be explicitly taught on week 7. This is to set your students up for success. Okay, if we were to hand your students an individualized list of words this week, they would have all different letters and obviously in every word. But every student knows in your class that ACK is in every one of my 12 words. If I know that ACK is in every one of my 12 words, I'm immediately set up for success because I know 3 out of 4 letters here are 3 out of 5 letters. I have 75% of every one of these words right, even if I just write down ACK, okay, or 75 or 80% or 60%, sorry, of every one of these words right. So we're setting them up for success. You are probably going to give all of the children in your class this grid, okay? However, this is located in the printable section of your profile. It's the second document you see there. It's called letter strings, dulge, and snip. It is explained to you in your checklist exactly what page of this document to go to print the grids for that week. So as you can see, you go to page 14 to print your ACK words, and exactly what pages you go to for every single other one of the letter strings that you're going to be covering. Most likely, you're going to give every student in your first class grid A. However, we do want to cater for those more capable spellers in your class. You might decide to give other students grid B that you know are really, really capable spellers, or if you have an absolute genius in your class in relation to spelling, you can give them grid C. As you can see, they're exceptionally difficult ACK words. The reason we go as difficult as we do, just so you know, it's not for first class. Some teachers in 4th and 5th and 6th like to use the letter string approach as well, instead of individualize at certain stages of the year. So we give them scope to be able to differentiate for every student in their class. So as I said, most students in your class are probably going to get grid A. They're set up for success with the easiest ACK words. However, you might give certain students grid B if they're really capable. And as I said, if you have exceptionally brilliant spellers or students in your class, you might give them grid C. The activities, especially the letter string activity, the Thursday night activity, will be based upon the letter string for that week. Okay, so it connects to the words they're going to be studying for that week. The next week, they move on to AIN words. Okay, same rules apply. There'll be differentiated grids there for you to print, and the activity will be based upon AIN words. I would urge you to try do these activities, these pages in school. At the start, it is best if you do these 2 pages in school as well, because they're getting used to a new program. They will only do it properly if you do it as a group. Discuss the word, come up with the best strategy. You might do a sentence together as a class and we all write in the same sentence into it here. But after a while, yes, you can start signing this page, these 2 pages for homework, but we always recommend that these pages are done in school. And then we move on to Unit 9, where we study AKE words. And then, as you can see, the activities are very much colour-centred again. In relation to assessment, we don't recommend first-class students go online at all. Okay, now it is completely up to you. It's a school-by-school case, a teacher-by-teacher case. Some teachers might have certain students they want to move to their individualised online. But you're asking now and you're wondering, if I don't do the online assessment, how do I assess? And that's a very valid question. We don't want you returning to a typical Friday spelling test. It's not a case of covering Unit 7 and testing them on the 12 ACK words, then covering Unit 8 and testing them on the 12 AIN words. We want you to group it in threes. They study 36 words. And old-fashioned, same as always, you have a notebook, a spelling notebook, or a copybook where they write in using pencils or pen, whatever they might be using, more than likely pencils, of course. They write in their 36 words. You will test every 3rd week. We want these spellings to be still in their long-term memory. We don't want to revert back to a Friday spelling test. We know that there is no benefits to it. In fact, they're the opposite. But we want you to be able to assess every 3rd week as well. Please be aware, all of those letter string tests are available online to test. However, we do feel with first-class students logging in, username, password, getting them to click into the right test, the correct test, it's far too time-consuming than just getting out a notepad every 3rd week and calling out the 36 words they've studied for the previous 3 weeks. You'll do a 3-week cycle, then you'll move on to Units 10, 11, and 12 and assess those 36 words as well. Most importantly, print your checklists. They are step-by-step guide to how to use the program, as I said, the printable section of your profile. This approach is best used in first class. There is a certain element of they must have, phonics has to be covered at a certain stage. If they don't have their sounds, we have certain grids built into that letter string document. Just to show you the document again. This document here, the second one there, letter strings, dulge, and snip. There's grids built in on page 326 of this document in relation to sounds that you might decide will work better in your class before you move to a letter string approach. Okay, we are not saying you have to use the letter string approach in first and second class. You can, of course, use the online profiles and use individualized spellings with those classes, but we would feel the students in first class are not ready for that approach just yet. All right, please be aware, we are always here to support. We're always here to support. Send us an email, info@spellingsforme.ie, or give us a phone call on 01535 1661. Thank you.